Hello, Craig.
It's all on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's all on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's all on you, it's all on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Buddy,
We don't care.
Hey,
What's up?
I gotta say, like, we haven't got to say this in a while, but the last few weeks, great fucking time to be a Wazoo football fan, man.
fuck yeah, man.
Great fucking time.
Yeah. Which is, was not expected so quickly to have that
since our-
emotion.
yeah, it after you lose it to coach, but hey, this is podcast versus everyone.
Yeah, give him the name.
Episode, whatever it is. What
I
episode
don't
is
even,
Jeff?
240 something.
240 something. I'm Craig.
I can look if you
Powers.
really want to know.
I'm Craig Powers. I didn't put my full name for the people watching on YouTube.
They can't
with me
see
as
that,
always,
by the way.
they can't see that.
That's only for us. The name
Well,
on the screen is
well,
just
I'm
for you
glad
and
that
me.
I know. I'm glad that I know your last. I have your last name just in case.
It's good. It's good.
But
it's
with
pretty
me
unique and
as-
pretty famous.
With me as usual is Jeff Newser, and Jeff. One, obviously, we can talk about all the fun stuff that has been going on, and with our new coaching hire, Kirby Moore, and all that, the bowl
Yeah.
game, all that. But what I kind of want to focus on to start off is the quarterback situation at the two Division I FBS football schools in the state of Washington.
Yep.
Now, I know there was some hand wringing among Coug fans. I know in our Slack there was some hand wringing because we had not landed a QB yet, all of 4 days into the portal. and today, when the hand wringing was getting the worst, like we don't have a
Yeah.
quarterback, we don't know how to feel. Someone that was not on many people's radar, I would say, but now all of a sudden we're big fans of. They go
Yeah.
out and they grab UC Davis's quarterback, whose name is escaping me now,
I got
even
it.
though say-
Caden Pinnick.
Thank you,
Caden
Caden Pinnick. Even though I
Yes.
watched his highlights all day long.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, Caden
You were
Pinnick.
giving it the scouting
um,
report on Slack.
Yep. And so, yeah, they go out and, land a commitment from him in the transfer portal. Guy I had not heard of at all. I don't know about you, because I don't watch
Nope.
a lot of Big Sky football.
Nope.
But man, I got to say, watching some highlights and looking at his stats, but really watching some highlights, he's got a lot of tools, and
Yeah.
he just looks like a kid. You say like distressed asset. It's not quite a distressed asset. It's more just like overlooked because he's not tall.
Yep.
But he's got mobility. He ran for if you take out sacks, he ran for over 600 yards at around
Mhm.
7 yards a clip.
That's a
and
lot,
from what it
by the way.
from what it looked like, he's just they're definitely some design runs. UC Davis was running RPO. He had a great rushing touchdown against Idaho off of a design run, but he also has great mobility in the pocket while keeping his eyes downfield. I love the way he moves. Like he looks like he's pass first, run if it's not there, which is the ideal. That's a level of maturity you don't see in a lot of. He's a true freshman quarterback
Yeah.
last year, putting
Yeah.
up big numbers. Now he did not play well against UW, but also that he didn't play very
Second
much.
game of the season.
His second game ever going into Husky Stadium,
Yeah.
with that half full crowd or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
that's pretty intimidating, but maybe because he thought it would be louder and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got to get all the digs in we can. But But yeah, obviously that's the team. Like they're out talented at every single position. So
Mhm.
if he had an amazing game, then. But yeah, he only threw like 16 passes, had like
Yeah.
50 yards. It wasn't great, but as the season went on, he played his best football in the playoffs. Took UC Davis to the playoffs. This UC Davis coach, very good at identifying QB talent. He's had a lot of guys come through that he has coached. Um, so that's just a good sign. There's some guys that just know good QBs,
Mhm.
and we've had several of them at Wazoo, and I hoping Kirby Moore is one of those as well.
Yeah.
Um, Having grown up with an amazing QB.
Yep.
But
An
yeah,
amazing QB who was not a physical
not a
specimen,
not as
you
physical
know,
specimen.
uh, largely why he didn't end up at our school in the first
Yeah.
place, right?
Yep.
Was, I mean, they looked and they went, what are you going to do with a 6-foot quarterback from Prosser? And,
Yep.
turned out pretty okay for Boise. I think, this kid, he appears to be 6 foot, maybe in, he's got I think he might have the basketball point guard 6 foot, that
Yeah.
they give guys because they're actually like,
Yeah.
5'10.5" or whatever, and they're like, oh, they're
And
6 feet tall.
and
It's all good.
and FCS players tend to be smaller, and he
Yeah.
still doesn't look very big in those highlights.
If
But
I remember right, Mike Flowers, I think was listed at 6 foot tall, and I am a 6 foot tall man, and Mike Flowers was looking at me. So yeah. But to me, like
Isaac Bonton
it's
was listed at 6'3".
yeah. There you go. So like when I think of we talk a lot on Slack about like what kinds of players WSU should be looking for, things like that, and a former WSU coach once said to me like they sometimes they have like a whole comprehensive plan for bringing in talent, but distressed assets was part of that strategy. Like they're saying, all right, who are talented kids who for whatever reason are maybe not valued as highly as they should be, or they had for like maybe they had a down year or something, but so there were some guys who came through that program that were like that were huge contributors because they just kind of had a little bit of a rough go. They get back on their feet at Wazoo and everybody wins, right? And this kid's not a distressed asset in the sense that like he's not, and we'll talk about a distressed asset here in a sec, but the this kid is maybe overlooked though because he is not prototypical size. He's not he doesn't appear to have a cannon for an arm. Like the arm is good enough and he
Yeah.
rips some throws, but he's not necessarily gonna wow people with superlative measurables. And in lieu of that, there are probably maybe some bigger schools that might look at that and be like, is he really gonna, like, is it really gonna work? Is it, and Kellen Moore, to his credit, was like, no, but it can work here and it can work with me.
Kirby
And
Moore.
when you got a guy, Kirby Moore, good God, sorry, just
Kellen
kidding.
Moore, the coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, the other one. My bad. I'm sure Kellen Moore's really impressed by him too. Just throwing that out there. But Kirby Moore, I'm sure thought, hey, this can work with us. This can work here. And especially in an attack that is, they're going to throw the ball, but honestly, the way that it has been described from the folks that have worked with it, they definitely ran the ball a lot in Missouri. And it certainly seemed like the quarterback they had there was designed to be kind of a hybrid guy, like not necessarily just, throwing the ball. They want people who can move. And it certainly sounds like this kid fits that bill. So super excited. And then, the larger context is the majority of the pieces on offense are back. Which I think when we were down bad, or at least me, I don't know, maybe I don't want to speak for you, but when I was down bad after Jimmy Rogers announced he was leaving, my brain went to like, well, fuck, everybody's gone, right? Because that's what happened last time was like everybody, they didn't all follow Jake Dickert, but they all left, and you were replacing like massive amounts of kids. You basically had, 2 linemen left. You had like 1 receiver left. You had or 2 receivers left. You had
Yeah.
you had one running back who had 10 carries or whatever, right? Like two linemen, I think I said, anyway, and a backup quarterback. And so it's they were really starting from the ground up. That's not the case here, man. Whatever they're doing with NIL, they're keeping kids around, particularly on offense. The defense, that one made a little more. They graduated a ton of guys, and then it kind of makes sense. Some of those guys would follow Jimmy to Iowa State.
There was really only a couple starters that even could return, and
Right.
we don't. And there's a
So
couple of them we don't know what they're doing yet.
yeah. So we're still working on that. But as far as the offense goes, it's like, man, you're kind of bringing most of the band back. And the line is almost totally intact, except for the guys who graduated. You put all that together, that's the framework of a really good offense with a really good offensive coach. And through it all, they brought back Kirby Voorhees, which is really exciting because he proved himself, super durable and reliable. Max Woods, who is, the joke on Slack, is just my favorite player because I'm I just love him. He's explosive. He's got that fast twitch that, athletically just would fit in really anywhere. And then you're okay, well, who's going to be the quarterback? Well, now we got him. And man, it's you can see how these puzzle pieces fit together.
Let's
And
not
it's
forget Tony Freeman, who
Tony Freeman coming back.
Just a guy with speed, and also a great punt returner, and just a lot of brings so much value. And just to bring that's a guy that the Iowa State fans thought that was gone, was going to be theirs. All these guys are guys that Iowa State, Kirby, Kirby Voorhees, and all those guys, and they're keeping you would expect, the offensive coach, and he's keeping the offensive players, and that's nice, because Jimmy, maybe Jimmy didn't want to keep the defensive players, but there was some damn good defensive players that left when Jimmy came, and he didn't. He just basically brought in his own guys, which was fine. Obviously, it worked out pretty well in the end. But there were some really good players on defense that left, and so that when we went through that, it just felt like we had no idea what it was going to be. But going into next season, you're kind of feeling like there are pieces in place that this is going to be a top offense in the Pac-12. You got an offensive mind at coach, I guess your head coach, more what we're comfortable with, someone who's focused on offense, not necessarily a pass crazy attack, but probably a little more pass heavy than he was at Missouri, I would assume. But you got two good running backs. They've already brought in some wideouts in the portal. They're looking to add more because that's probably the biggest area of need.
If we go back to the wideouts, right?
Yeah,
that is where we actually landed a distressed asset. We got Florida transfer Tank Hawkins, who is so he was a 4-star kid 2 years ago, enrolled, played as a true freshman, didn't catch that many balls, played the first 4 games this year, only caught a couple of balls, went to the coach and was like, hey man, I would like to basically opt out of the rest of the year. I think he practiced the rest of the year. I think he stayed with the team. I don't think he left or anything like that.
Saved
but he wanted
his red shirt.
Yeah, he wanted to preserve a red shirt. He's like, basically I'm not playing that much. Can I please, preserve a red shirt? I thought it sounded very mature, to be honest. He ends up entering the portal. We land him. This is a guy who ran a sub 11-second 100-meter dash in high school. He was on 24/7's freaks list as a senior in high school. This is a kid with speed to burn. And, so maybe the speed itself doesn't really separate him in the SEC, but at a place like Washington State, just being ridiculously fast is actually can be, I assume he's going to get better route running, whatever, but even just being fast for us is a huge add, versus him being just super fast at Florida or whatever, which is its own shit show. So, we Kirby Moore is just adding pieces right and left. They're in on a couple other receivers. You're okay, these guys are interesting. Like there's really interesting stuff happening all over the place. And I don't know, it just makes me feel like really, really good because, um, the place my brain went at first, we're not going there. We're not building a roster from scratch for the second year in a row, which is honestly what I thought we probably were going to be doing. And I think there was two things that helped. I think number one, not hiring so late, right? So last year Jimmy got hired basically at the end of December, which is a tough time to do it. And then number two, the transfer portal this year didn't officially open until, a few days ago. And it's like, or a week ago, whatever it was. And that sort of restricted some of the flow, right? So Kirby had a chance to get in there. And then also I think, we're hearing rumors and rumblings about like the school really stepping up with the revenue sharing, that, potentially that was being used with the guys to keep them around, the guys who already want to be in Pullman. I haven't fact checked that. I don't have, sources or anything, but, these are the kinds of, things we're hearing, which kind of track with the fact that, guys who could have left and gone and gotten paid somewhere else decided to stay, which I mean, logically would tell you they're, probably getting paid to some degree. So, honestly, it just seems like WSU is setting itself up really, really well, for being a tentpole program in the new Pac-12. There's no reason, like, I don't know. I'm already thinking like, I mean, is there any reason to think we're not going to compete for a conference title in that first year? I mean,
Well, yeah,
I
like
can't, there's still lots of work with defense, but
we saw we were if you looked at the top teams in the league that are coming in as they were rated this year on like SP Plus or whatever.
yeah,
San Diego State was the only one higher than Wazoo, and Wazoo
yeah,
beat San Diego State. Now
yep,
that's gonna, but there's gonna be a lot of offensive quality there. And we were so worried when Jimmy left, like, God damn it, we thought we were gonna be set up so well starting this new conference, and we
uh-huh,
just were resigned to the fact that it was not gonna be that. And here we are feeling so much better because of the guys that have stayed. There's an outside chance that some of a couple of those defensive guys like Bobby stay. Now, will
uh-huh.
they? I don't know. That Bobby's gonna get paid, Bobby Terrell.
Yeah, Bobby
Bobby's not his
Terrell
real name,
and
but
Bryson Lamb are kind of the
yeah.
two question marks out there at the
Yeah,
moment.
but I
So,
mean, he's gonna get paid like that. He's the hardest to replace for sure. But,
yeah,
but still, if you make strides on offense, which is not going to be hard, the offense was not good this year. It's like, and if you could be a little bit worse on defense, and you'll still be good because if you get up and it, to win this league, if you're like a top 50 team in the country. That's
yeah,
probably gonna be because Boise not having the greatest of off seasons either. Like um, they they're kind of not what they used to be, at least right
uh-huh,
now. Um, yeah, really, the Mountain West as a whole was bad this season, and
yeah,
so they're coming in the Pac-12 not at their best. Texas State had a great finish to the year.
yep,
Um, and they actually ended up pretty decent ratings and everything. But yeah, like so this is gonna be a very winnable conference next year.
yep,
And WSU is actually having a tremendous offseason relative to everyone else.
yeah,
And and that's encouraging. And
yep,
they're getting the types like we talked about on the Slack. You said the distressed assets. Uh Down transfers can be really iffy in a lot of situations. We've talked about this with
mhm,
basketball because a lot of times it's guys who just like weren't that good, and they don't have maybe the work ethic that like because they just have got by on their athleticism. But at a position like wide receiver, or even if he's kick returning or anything,
yep,
speed burns. You don't have to be perfect. You
no,
don't have the ball in your hands every damn time. Like they can set up specific design specific plays
mhm,
for you, get you in space. where you don't have to think too much. You don't have to like do much. Like you can still be learning, but you're still fast. You can run by someone. Wide receiver is a great spot for that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what I love about the quarterback signing, WSU has had such great success with up transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about now, obviously Zevi, but Zevi was
Mm.
not really signed to be a starter.
No.
Like he
No.
was meant to be like John Mateer's backup,
Yep.
and he didn't really like light it up at Bryant, and to be fair, he had his, but he did put up some decent numbers when he was actually allowed to throw, but he also threw a lot of interceptions, whatever. But then if you
Yeah.
go back, you look, we had a string of up transfers that were pretty dang good. Like you had Gardner obviously from East Carolina, and then you had Gordo, who came from a JC,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had Cam Ward who came from Incarnate Word,
Is
and
that guy good? Whatever
yeah,
happened to
he's
him?
pretty good. He's pretty good, and
Where'd that guy end up?
yeah, but yeah,
I don't
like
know.
but yeah,
I
like
think he landed on his feet.
that's pretty good. Getting guys that were highly sought after originally, picking
Yeah.
them up when they're on the rise. Gardner,
Mm-hmm.
that was just I mean, Mike Leach obviously saw something in him that no one else did.
Yeah.
Um,
Little
and
bit of a
then,
stroke of luck
and
for sure.
Gordo actually beat out another up transfer in Gage Gabrud,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who could very well have been just damn good that year too, but who the hell was going to be better than Anthony Gordon that year?
Yeah.
Um,
Nobody.
and then, yeah, so we've got a history of this. And
Yep.
it's just like QB, the QBs usually are like just like if you're a lower level like lowly recruited QB, you probably were like uh really good. Like you're probably the best athlete at wherever you were,
Mm-hmm.
so you probably just know how to. There's a lot of these guys that were leaders on their high school teams. They were leaders on stuff, and then they have this chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you get a kid that was, I don't care, even an FCS team, you're starting freshman year and you put up those type of numbers
Yeah.
as an 18-year-old, basically, like that's nuts. Like, and so I'm excited for this. I'm excited. And then, so we were having just a fantastic day. WSU got their
Yeah.
quarterback. The offense, that was really the piece that we were kind of like, you know, we don't know. We don't have really an experienced quarterback coming in. We got a couple guys that haven't played that much on the roster still, but we get that. We're like, all right, like now we could probably really start being excited for next year. And then,
Yeah.
we know 4 days ago that Damon Williams signed a deal to stay with UW. Did you know that, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
That Damon Williams just signed a
I
deal 4
did, and
days ago to stay with
Washington
UW?
fans, Washington fans rightly were really excited about
Sorry,
that. Damon
I mean
Williams,
Washington,
really
UW, not Wisconsin.
Washington. Yeah, not UW. We're not talking about Wisconsin. We're talking about Washington, the
Yeah,
University of Washington. So
University of Washington.
was their fans very excited to have him back, which they should be. Like he's a really good quarterback. We saw what he did to us. Like
Yep.
he's really fucking good. So I totally get that they were super excited. Did something else happen with that guy?
Yeah, and then this evening, truly one of those great like Slack moments, right? Like in the last couple hours. Like, um, but uh, uh, Williams announced on his Instagram with a farewell that he was entering the portal, and there's rumors that he's going to LSU, for like $6 million
with
or something.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, with Lane Kiffin. Um,
And as you can imagine, Husky fans are taking this so
very-
well,
so well.
with tons of grace and lots of understanding that, you know what, players have a limited amount of time to make their money. They are very, like, I can't even finish the bit.
Oh my
dude.
God, the amount, all of them like, I'm so over college football. This is the worst. the fucking,
as you might imagine, the king at the top of the hill right now is Dave Softy Mahler from Sports Radio KJR in Seattle. So I am currently looking at his Twitter feed. Hold on. So that we can go through some of this. Would you like me to read some of the tweets here, Craig, about what's happening here? All right, so here's where I want to start. Okay, so about 7 hours ago, news breaks about Caden Pinnick. So there's a tweet out there. Yep. UC Davis quarterback Caden Pinnick's committing to Washington State. So Softy posts, does a little retweet that says, went 8 of 16 for 50 yards versus UW back in September. Okay, great. And then pretty much right after that, within the hour, new Washington QB DeMond Williams plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal. And then he retweets it. Lovely. And then he retweets Christian Capel, DeMond Williams Jr.'s official announcement. I have to do what's best for me and my future. And then, Craig, the meltdown starts. Here we go. Here's the first one. Jed Fish bent over backwards for DeMond Williams, and he stabbed him in the back. Zero loyalty from anyone left in this sport, and I'm 100% sick of this shit. All right? So we got that one. A minute later, I don't really have it in me right now to give a damn about, quote, what's best for the players. You want our money, you want our loyalty, and then you bail. Why did we invest in you again or even care? All right. He's clearly handling this well. Within the next hour, college football to me has become a simple exercise. Tell me who's on the team in September. I'll root for them for 4 months, then assume all of them may be gone next year. You have loyalty for 120 days and then can prove you deserve it again. All right. Next one. Oh, I mean, I could do this all night, but I'm trying to pick the hits here. Let's see. Oh, this was the one where it said, all right, UW is considering legal action to make DeMond Williams stay. Then, of course, he goes to DeMond Williams posted his IG farewell during Mia Hammett's memorial service. This was a soccer player who died at UW that included tons of members of the UW football team in attendance. Colossal prick and massive failure by his PR team. So there's that. And then, here's a good one. Just a sec. Oh, this is one of the problems with paying kids adult money. They want to be treated like adults and paid like adults, but they don't know how to act like adults because they're kids and they're not supposed to know how to act like an adult. Yet here we are. It's so good, man. It's so it's just so fucking good, dude. Like, I just can't even, I think go ahead.
But yeah, it's on top of Softy. Softy's just like that slice that we always go to for like the prime example. But it's like Jordan Reffitt and all those dipshits on Twitter like that, like always like to talk shit about WSU and have been kind of jerks about us being relegated and all this stuff. And they're
and they've been like, cry more about not being in the Pac-12 anymore. It's not our fault. We had no choice.
Yeah, they had no choice.
Yeah, these fucking guys.
But like
these same guys.
This is what you're sick of college football. Not when your school joined a Midwest Midwest conference. Disbanded 100-plus-year-old conference to go join a Midwestern conference at half a share and basically have turned into a bottom feeder basketball, like men's basketball program and a middle of the pack football program when you could have stayed in the Pac-12 and been like king of the goddamn hill, right? Or at least, second Oregon. But this is what imagine if they went through what we went through, the meltdowns that would be happening. Like, y'all ain't built for this. They're not built. Yes, check out.
Not.
If you
they
can't,
they made it like an hour.
If you can't handle a quarterback leaving, then fucking check out. Our fucking superstar quarterback left last year and the year before. Like, come the fuck on. Yeah. Like, it's the game, man. And you're just now figuring out this happens. Like,
they are, though. That's the thing. They are. They have like they have such a, as we know, right? They have such an inflated view of themselves that they are some kind of blue blood when they clearly are not. They won a national championship like 35 years ago, right? Like, congratulations, you know? And so they have this like warped view of who they are. And they just like, they are getting right now constantly reminded of the fact that they are not what they thought they were. And the funny thing is, if they had just stayed in the Pac-12, if they had just stuck around and been like, you know, big balls, whatever out here, like running around. Sorry, that's very sexist, but you know what I mean? Running around like, you know, we own this joint. It's like they probably could continue to delude themselves about it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But now they're in the Big Ten and they're just like one of everybody else. You're basically Purdue, except in Seattle.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, your coach leaves for Alabama, your best player. They lost their running back too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like their running back who was supposed to be the heir apparent, he transferred. He went to Cal, right? Like he went to Cal. He'd rather go play for Cal in the ACC than fucking stay in Seattle. Like you are a bunch of broke boys up there.
He was going to get 200 plus carries next year at UW.
I know, they're a bunch of broke boys up there in Seattle. They can't handle a little adversity. I think my favorite tweet was this guy. Hold on, I got to find this. I don't know. There's so many good ones. Okay, so while I'm looking for it, by the way, I'm going to put in a little plug for our Slack. Because the anti-Husky channel, which is called Apple Cup 2024. So basically it was a game thread for the Apple Cup, but we just left it after we won the game. And it's basically every place when we go to, anytime we need to clown on Washington, that's really where we go. I'm trying to find the one from the alpha male guy. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a tweet. Yeah. And it's like, we've just like this thing is so fucking long right now. Oh wait, there it is. Hold on. I found it. All right. So this guy responded to Softy. This was a guy on Twitter. Now his handle his handle is at Raising Real Men blue check mark.
The blue check mark. Paying money to use Twitter.
He says, I'm done. Season tickets won't be renewed. And then we went and looked at his bio, and his bio was, okay, so it's at Raising Real Men, right? His bio says, I'm sorry. It's at Raising Real Men _.
So
something
he was the
to
first,
distinguish it from the other Raising Real Men. So the bio goes like this. It says, Raising Real Men while the world raises victims. 3 sons, 0 pronouns.
0 pronouns. But Jeff, what was his tweet again? His tweet started with the word "I'm,"
which as a pronoun. I'm an English teacher. Craig, I'm an English teacher. I can confirm that I'm
is a pronoun. But he said no pronouns.
Raising real men while the world raises victims. And then he's out here going like, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. Alpha male is done.
The victim. They don't, it's, oh my God.
They can't handle it.
They can't see it.
It's so,
they can't see it.
Oh my God. This is just, honestly, this has been, I mean, there's been some pretty epic days and nights on the Slack.
Barstool Huskies.
Yeah, there's been some pretty epic days and nights on the Slack. This is the one. This, I don't know, man. This might be.
This has been my favorite day of the
This is in the top 5 for sure. Oh, I'm dying. So anyway, I
have just not
it's
an
too fun,
ounce
man.
of sympathy.
No,
or, like I'm not even trying to empathize.
No.
Like,
I mean, now what we need, the only thing that's left is we need for Jed to leave. Like that's, and I know like we all make fun of Jed and maybe he's better off, maybe we're better off with him staying, but like just for the tears, Like I need him to go. I need like either one of these NFL teams to hire him. Even better would be if one of these NFL teams wanted to be an offensive coordinator and he like left to go be that or something. And then they have to go find another. I need this. I don't want to be too greedy, Craig. Like I feel like I'm being greedy by asking for that, but yeah, it's glorious, dude.
Yeah, everyone in the Slack just dragging them. I definitely had some choice words, but I think those are for
Yeah,
subscribers
those are probably
only.
I will say, if you want to know what Craig said that we were laughing about and thinking about putting on a shirt or on a sign, you're gonna have to join. You're gonna have to join our premium level and join our Slack. I promise you. I make this commitment to you. If you join our Slack in the next like 48 hours, I will make sure to give you a direct link to what Craig said that is not really suitable for repeating on a podcast.
Well, it's not anything worse than we've ever said, but I don't know. Like it's special.
It involves a beverage and orifices and just things that are the husky things. So yeah.
It would have to be a vintage beverage, like this type of beverage. It would be a vintage, and that's not been produced in a while.
Yeah, correct. Correct. Whew. Okay. All right.
But by the way,
I am composed.
They're saying they're going to try to sue him. Like, okay, so what's your best outcome here?
It's glorious.
You sue him.
Oh, no, Softy just wants damages. Softy wants damages.
Want damages.
You can't bring him back. That would be terrible.
So good luck.
Good luck
signing players in the future if you go ahead and do that. Like,
yeah, good luck. I mean, you can do it. I mean, look, the president's gotten real far in his life by suing people all the time. Give it a try.
Yeah,
you can go for it.
Yeah, let's see how easy it is
to how that works out.
Kids in the portal if you're the program that sued for damages. Yeah, I don't know. Like, go ahead and try it. I'm assuming they won't in the end.
No, it's all just bluster.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter. Whatever there's probably a clawback in there. I think these things are pretty standard.
Yeah,
now.
I'm sure there's
whatever the clawback is. I mean, if he's getting $5 or $6 million from LSU, it's fine. It's not gonna whatever. Like he can pay the clawback. It don't matter.
I'm sure
what kind of damage
I'm sure he and his agent and LSU are aware of the potential ramifications, or whoever he may be going to, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and it makes sense and all that. But
oh no, he's gonna owe $500,000 in a clawback. Like some fucking booster in Louisiana is gonna be like, that's it. Yeah, no, here you go. Put it in a paper bag and hand it off.
We love the Schadenfreude, and
we do.
And you know what? Today was a good day for good kook things. Today was a good day. Great husky things.
Yes.
Yeah, and
you love to see it.
After the way, they have treated us, and in all this aftermath, tried to explain to us like we're children about how they had to go to the Big Ten.
This is the way the real world works, Craig.
Yeah.
This is how real world works. That's how the big boys have to do things.
But guess what? People do this in regular employment contracts all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is not weird.
Welcome to big boy football.
And
welcome to big boy business.
Yep. It's like, sorry, you wanted to be part of this game. You had to go join, like you went for the cash grab. Well, the half share grab. We always have to remember
the half
that.
Share grab. Yes. Yes, the half share.
So you could be, 6 wins, 8 wins in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And being also ran while your rival is thoroughly enjoying being in the Big Ten, who you drug along and who you convinced to go, and it's working out much better for them.
It's working out pretty good for them,
in terms
actually.
of football. I will say they won a championship in soccer, I think, this year.
Yeah, whatever.
But in terms of football, which is what all these people fucking care about,
that's all they really care about.
Oregon's won the Big Ten championship last year, and then they're in the semifinal. this year against another big team.
Yeah.
Indiana, you know, you obviously UW can't hold a candle
Indiana's kicking
to
your
that
ass,
Indiana,
Washington.
that powerhouse, Indiana, that football powerhouse.
I know. Indiana's showing you how a blue blood really does it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Washington. You know, I guess you had to go from one conference to another to get your ass kicked by a team in crimson.
Because you were
whatever.
You just didn't have
Too afraid.
You were too afraid to anchor
Too afraid.
a premium West Coast conference, and
I know.
you just had to run to the Midwest, and now we all live in Big Ten country.
Fortune favors the bold, Craig.
Yeah. Karma's a bitch.
That's what I've been told on crypto commercials.
Yeah.
That too. They didn't put that in a crypto commercial though.
No,
they probably should. Probably should have.
Karma's a
that's
bitch.
probably that's another discussion for another day.
Go fucking Cougs.
All right. Go fucking Cougs. All right, what should we talk about next?
Beer or basketball?
Beer or basketball?
Beer. What do you, Jeff?
Beer.
So I'm in a good mood now. It's been a really fun day. What are you drinking to celebrate this fun day?
So I had a couple of Christmassy beers left in the fridge. So I grabbed this one thinking, well, let's have the little special one. So so I'm holding it up to the camera now if you're watching on YouTube, but this is the Reuben's Holiday Haze, which of course is, as you might imagine, is a hazy IPA. Now it is a hazy IPA with cinnamon and vanilla. Now, that is not a combination I would typically expect or enjoy in an IPA. And I will be honest, my first sip tonight, I was like, what have I done? This is not what I was expecting. But I will say, as it has gone on, as I have gotten a bit deeper, and as honestly, I think some of it has to do with the fact that the beer's warming up a little bit. The flavors aren't, like, at first it kind of felt like the flavors were kind of clashing kind of hard. But as it's like warmed up a little bit, lost a little bit of carbonation. It just like the IPA part, right? The bitterness and all that, and the juicy of the haziness is kind of mellowing a little bit. And then the cinnamon and the vanilla, which were kind of overpowering right off the top, have kind of mellowed a little bit too. Or maybe just my palate's getting used to it. One or the other. I don't know. But not bad. I mean, I don't think I would choose it again. I probably would have liked it better if I drank it like on Christmas Eve and not on January 6th, just because at this point I'm kind of like, I'm kind of over Christmas. But it was in my fridge, so I drank it. I will say my favorite beer I've drank in the last week, I was up in Edmonds, went to a tap room up in Edmonds. I sent you a picture of this, right? Drank a Tayberry, which is honestly one of my favorite flavors. We have a Tayberry jam that we love, but it was a Tayberry wild ale from, oh, now I'm drawing a blank, dude. What was the name of the brewery up there in Burlington?
Oh,
right?
Shoot. Man.
Crap. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Jester King Garden.
Yes, Garden Path. Garden Path. There we go. Garden Path. Yes. Really good. Really, really good. That was the best beer I had. So figured I'd put in a plug for that. What about you, buddy?
E9 has a great Tayberry farmhouse ale too.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yep. I've had that before. It's fantastic.
So I'm drinking a beer from Arizona, Jed Fish's family's favorite place. It's called Highwaymen. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Yeah.
Or UW fans.
I love the Highwaymen.
Yeah. But yeah, I assume that's what it's named after. It's got some.
I got to assume, given that it's mamas don't let your babies grow up, right? So it's the Highwaymen, right? You got Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson and I'm forgetting somebody. There's like 4 of those guys.
Waylon Jennings, maybe? No,
might be. I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to look it up while you're
Waylon
talking.
Jennings.
Go ahead.
Okay.
There you go.
So, yeah, like great music. But anyways, Highwaymen, Cowboys. Anyway, but I just had to. I was like, I don't know why. I'm just gonna grab an Arizona beer. I got this way back. I might have even drank this on the pod before. I don't know if I got more than one can, but it's from Wren House Brewing in Phoenix, and I brought down some like barley wine from like the Northwest and shared it with Preston, who's one of the founders there, and he gave me this and some other beers and as a thank you. And so, but this was the Cheez-It Bowl. So this beer is
That beer's
over
old.
5 years, no, over 6 years old. Yeah,
Shit.
in a can. But honestly, cans are pretty good. Like these days, like
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having it, and it was already kind of like it's not like what you would think. It's a barrel aged barley wine, but it's a little like it's not like a 15%er. I think it's closer to around 10. It's not what you're thinking of some of like those big like syrupy barley wines. It's much more tight.
Yep.
Much more tight kind of profile, not overly sweet, really kind of easier to drink. It does have some barrel character and stuff, and it's very tasty, very easy to drink. Now, if you're looking for like the syrupy sweet barley wines, like a Fremont Brew, whatever 1000 or Anchorage barley wines or anything like that, you're not gonna, this is not what you're gonna be finding, but it is definitely more of like a classic tight barley wine, more of a balanced flavor profile and stuff. So very very tasty, very easy to drink, very nice. It was time to drink this fucking beer. I've had 6 years in my in my basement.
Yeah. That's good enough. Remind you of better times of the
Cheez-It Bowl. That was a fun trip.
What a great game that was. It was. Yeah, didn't you guys stick around for the playoff game?
Yeah,
too?
we went to the Clemson Ohio State playoff game, like the amazing.
That was a great game.
Semifinal, and I went to the Grand Canyon. It was a good time.
That was a hell of a trip. You met Pat McAfee, right?
And then
wasn't that exciting?
And then only like this is just an inside joke, but I know they will listen. And there was Brian's 3 hours, and it was just a great time. And we met Pat McAfee back when we didn't know he was a douchebag. I mean, we knew kind of, but he was more of a lovable douchebag. And so
it seemed like more of a shtick at that point, and not like an actual identity.
But yeah, so we got a picture with him. We had some Cheez-Its on a hot dog and whatever.
Had some Cheez-Its, yeah. They had Cheez-It everything. It was
a really fun
bowl
trip.
Game.
That was a really fun Cougar football trip. Cougs never lose the party.
Other than Air Force keeping the ball out of Anthony Gordon's hands.
Yeah.
That was
we did get to talk to Anthony Gordon and his family after the game. That was cool. Just in a bar.
Oh, that's cool.
We went to a random bar, and all of a sudden, like, all the Gordons show up, and so we chatted with them.
rolls in.
Got to tell his dad how much we appreciated his son's play. That was fun.
Nice.
But this is bringing back memories. Oh yeah, that was a good trip.
Best air raid quarterback under Mike Leach. You can't convince me otherwise. It was probably him, or I don't know, maybe Connor Halliday.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, all right, memory lane. Hoops. Let's talk hoops.
Yes.
We got wins to talk about, man. We haven't been able to do this all year.
W's. Yeah, we
this
literally
is exciting.
can't. It's just, and let's start with the men.
It's been depressing as fuck.
The men have won now 5 of 6. So from 3-8 to 8-9, 3-1 in WCC play. Now and it isn't just like, obviously they're playing some easier teams. They beat Eastern, they beat Mercer, but that Mercer game was a toss-up at the time. Beating Loyola, that was a toss-up. That team was probably better than you.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, that's a team that's 30 spots ahead of us in the Ken Palm rankings.
Pretty much cruising past, struggling a bit with Portland. But that was a road game. But cruising past Oregon State and Spokane. That obviously the one blip you and I were at, the game at Seattle and Climate Pledge.
That game fucking sucked.
That game sucked.
That game was horrible.
It definitely was like, this is what it felt like playing against Tony Bennett when he was at Wazoo.
Oh God, yes, it's true.
You're like, who the fuck?
Except with
fuck is this
getting a million offensive rebounds and still not being able to score.
Well, yeah, that I'm pretty sure that happened to UW with Brockman a lot. Like I'm pretty sure Brockman.
I don't even know how this happened.
Clean the glass and then lose. But yeah, I mean, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. They had this scrawny center who's just blocking shots and
Blocking everything.
shutting us
Yeah.
down, and it's like, man, I've
Yeah.
seen this game before. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was it was fun. Like Emma and I got very cheap courtside seats. Thank you to Rick for that link. So
Yeah.
that was fun. And
Another instance of the slack paying for itself,
yeah.
right?
But yeah, we all got good deals on seats because of that link. We all had pretty good seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we discovered if you buy the tickets through Seattle U, you pay like
then from
a fraction and no service
the
fees.
regular Ticketmaster account. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
no service fees.
But
so it's
yeah,
good.
there was some, Rick was down there with me, and Tyler was down there. So that,
Yep.
with his kid, that was cool. Rick with his not yet had a cast. So he was in prime position to get that leg hurt again, because he was right behind the basket. Right next
this
to the
is
basket.
Rick from the Slack.
Rick from the Slack.
Our friend Rick from the
Sorry,
Slack,
Rick, we're
who
talking about
actually
you.
hurt his foot fanning just a little too hard at the Potato Bowl. So, those bleachers were a little slipperier than we thought.
I know what it's like to be injured.
That's right.
Rooting
just
for
fan a little too
Wazoo
hard.
Sports. But anyway, so yeah, that was a blip. But we
don't need to talk about that. Let's talk about the other good games.
Cougs there, like it was literally a Coug home game, like almost
with nothing to cheer for.
Yeah, just
like I swear to God, they made like 2 baskets in a row, and the place went bananas. We're like, come on, defense, and then they give up a bucket, and we're like, well, some guy who's made 4 threes all year.
They come back super slow start against Loyola Marymount, and we are like, this is over.
Yeah.
I think it was like 17-2.
They trailed a bunch. They were down by 9, like 7 minutes in or something. Like,
and
it was like 70-2 at the beginning. Yeah. They kind of crawled back, but they were still not getting close.
But they came back. They actually led at halftime, and then Ace with a super clutch bucket to win it at the end. Showed what he can do. Have a player when you have a type of player like that. That can get a shot for himself and make a huge play. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then he's Oregon State. Andy Okafor really gave them hell. It just shows that, like, if we're in a bad place, the Beavers in an even worse place in basketball. Like, that seems to be in the case of football, even though they beat us, but one time. But yeah, like
one time by accident.
But one of the big stories from the Oregon State game is that Adria Rodriguez had a over 100 offensive rating.
Third time this year.
Made all 3 of his free throws. Had the same amount as assists to turnovers, which is good. Tried to dunk on someone.
7 rebounds.
Easily his best game as a Coug.
Had a steal.
Yep. Which led to a basket.
Turned into a bucket at the other end. Yeah.
So that was that was nice, and it showed when he, when you get a guy like that, it gives you a solid 18 minutes. It makes a huge difference, because Ace didn't have his best shooting night from outside. He was doing just fine with getting to the rim, but he turned it over a little more than he'd want. But ND was a terror. Like, he just the numbers aren't huge, but he was just like impacting anything Oregon State wanted to do offensively, and just taking up space. And the way they're using him, and we could talk about this, is different.
Yeah.
He had 4 offensive rebounds, and they actually, as a team, got 42% of their own misses, and they've really been crushing offensive rebounds lately. And I think it's part of the philosophy change that Riley has implemented now, which is much more aligned with his typical offense, where they're not having ND just camp, or they're not having a big camp and post up. ND does have a face-up game now. Like, he is
Uh-huh.
a little more reliable from the outside. He's not gonna shoot from there, but he can take a couple dribbles, kinda do that Mo Gay thing, dribble into a back down,
Mm-hmm.
and so he doesn't need to camp. But they're kind of able to crash the offensive glass a little bit better that way. He's able to read and
Mm-hmm.
react to instead of just being there. Um, so I think that's been helped, but just overall, the guards and the forwards are, can get in the game, get inside better, playing much more inside out in a way that is typical for
Mm-hmm.
Riley, rather than before they were like inside out trying to post ND and then move out. But ND's not a great passer. That's not really his game. There's definitely, and we're seeing Yalaho and Ugbo, when they play together, having some nice two-man stuff, the high-low type stuff. Jerome Morton has come alive
Has come
in the
alive.
last two games.
Yeah.
It's huge. He's hitting jumpers, and we
Well, I don't think
yeah,
it's an accident.
yeah,
It's what you were talking about. So like the best way to describe what they were doing for the vast majority of the year was just like it was just painful. Like the game against Seattle, it was painful. I brought Atticus, my youngest son. He went to the game with me. We sat, mid court. Like we got some really great seats, for like $45 a ticket. And, we're watching the game. And the thing about like my kids is they have been spared the curse of being huge sports fans. like I've tried to get them into sports. They are not like super sports guys. Atticus is the closest. But even he is like, he likes sports. He likes going to games with me. He's not like, he doesn't obsessively follow teams like I do. But I asked him, I'm like, when the game was over, I was like, okay, dude, we're walking back to the car. I'm like, what'd you see? Like, what was your impression of that? And he goes, slow,
yeah.
just slow. And I'm like, yeah, tell me more what you think about it. And he's not a basketball player, not like a super sports fan. And he's just like, I mean, they just seem like the ball just kind of goes somewhere and then it stops and then it goes over here and then it stops and they just kind of don't really do anything. And then eventually they shoot. And I'm like, my 13-year-old who doesn't even love basketball understands what's going on. Right. And it just was, a lot of it was, ND just kind of camping down low. And then they had this like strategy of trying to like get their bigs to like dribble into the lane and then kick it out. And it wasn't working like at all. Like we were like, one of the things driving us nuts was, Emily Yalaho would like take two dribbles, get in the lane, pick up his dribble, and then look to pass it
Yeah.
somewhere. And it's like they just were not really getting into it. Now, part of that is Seattle. Seattle's a good team, really good defensive team. So part of that is they're physical. They push you off your, whatever. But it's like a lot of it was just sort of like, philosophically what they were trying to do. And I think that's also what you saw early against Loyola was the same sort of stuff. And then I think sort of late in the first half, and then in the second half is when they really switched to kind of this 5-out thing and it wasn't truly like 5-out in the sense like, 5
Yeah.
beyond the arc or whatever, but it was definitely 0 in the paint. And they'd put their bigs like, on the elbow, do a lot of they started doing more ball screens. Man, I've been calling for weeks for ball screens. And they did a lot more like kind of dribble handoff stuff, to just kind of create some space. And then all of a sudden, man, there's fucking, and what Ace Glass, we love Ace Glass. Ace Glass is a good shooter, but what Ace Glass is the very best at is getting to the rim and finishing at the
Yep.
rim. Like that is what he is absolutely the best at. And, you mentioned against Oregon State, he didn't hit a bunch of threes. He didn't have to, man. He was 6 of 8 on twos. Like he was in the lane over and over and over. And even Jerome Morton, who we have kind of been like, what do we got with this guy? He's starting to get into the lane over and over. Now he's starting to shoot too, which is fucking cool. But like, he's getting to the lane over and over, and he's not the most athletic guy, right?
Even
So
Favors,
he's not gonna.
Favors is getting a couple
Even
drives a
Favors,
game.
yes. And what's happening is instead of like, if you've got a post who can absolutely draw the defense, just be like a magnet, okay, that does change the geometry of the other defense, and then you throw it out. But I mean, in today's basketball, for that to happen, you got to be like fucking Zach Edey or something for that to work. Like, because you have to draw so much attention that it completely changes the defense. You're not going to get that. And the main reason is, Andy Okafor, who's had a really good season, his offensive rating is still only like 105 or 106, which is very, very average. And that's simply because, man, it is really hard to be super efficient if you only shoot twos. Like, that's really, really, really hard. And so other teams are like, if ND gets a post-up bucket, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. They're not changing their defense. Well, now all of a sudden you've pulled him out. You've pulled Jalaho out. You've pulled Ugbo out. All those guys can put the ball on the floor. And so you pull them out, you're using them to screen, and all of a sudden now you've got the balls moving, you've got action, there's driving lanes. I mean, I know that defenses will counter and things like that, but these last two games, honestly, is the first time all year I have felt optimistic about this team, because for the first, 15 games or whatever, I mean, or 14 games, I was just sort of like, dude, they're screwed. Like these parts don't fit together. They can't run Dave's offense. And honestly, this like ball screen stuff, I mean, that's not Dave's offense either, but it's like at least a cousin of it, right? Because they're not running strictly high ball screens, 2-man games, things like that. It's kind of all working together to create options. And we're seeing already, again, the driving lanes, their 2-point percentage, which was like, I don't know, 150th in the country or something for a lot of the year, is now like number 98. They're starting to get more of those 2-pointers that Dave is really famous for. Their 3-pointers are better looks now. Like, they're turning the ball over less. Really, things are just kind of starting to click a little bit. Now, next 3 games, who the fuck knows? They're playing St. Mary's, they're playing Gonzaga, they're playing San Francisco. They might go back to looking like shit.
A lot of this is with the caveat that a lot of these games in this 5 of 6 stretch are against worse teams than they played in that 5-game losing streak that preceded it. And,
I mean, the best team they beat was LMU, and they're ranked
124,
and they beat them at home.
On KenPom.
125.
And so before that, they
beat them by 2.
They played 4 top 100 teams, 2 top 50 teams among them. Then Bradley was the only, they're 136, but it was away. So that was a really tough stretch. And, and before that, playing UW, they're hovering around top 50, so definitely the schedule got a little easier, and then the one kind of more challenging game you didn't really compete in. And then the next 2 are gonna be tough. Obviously you're at St. Mary's and home against Gonzaga. Those are Gonzaga's a Final Four contender. St. Mary's is a surefire NCAA tournament team, probably, a single-digit seed for sure. That those games are not. I mean, if you compete in those games, which honestly we've seen, like Dave's teams randomly compete against teams that you just think they never would, and then lay an egg against some really bad team. But this is tough, like back to back, away and home. This WCC schedule is so weird and foreign to us. Like they got,
I miss Thursday, Saturday, man.
They have away, and then they have Gonzaga at home, and then they go to San Francisco, and then San Diego,
and then away.
So it's a tough stretch, and then they have 3 in a row home. So after those, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Gonzaga, and then San Francisco away. That's your toughest 3-game stretch in conference play.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of put a number on it, like KenPom gives us like a, let's see, 39% chance of even winning one of the 3. like we've got a basically a 40% chance of winning one of those three. Like that's how low it is. 7% against St. Mary's, 5% against Gonzaga. Those are not impossible odds. Teams win, at those numbers all the time. But it just kind of goes to show like it is going to be very tough. They will probably lose all three. And if they do, I'm not going to panic depending on what I see. Right. Like, so if I see that the offense is still, flowing a little bit, St. Mary's plays incredible defense as always. Gonzaga, of course, physically imposing as well. A little more athletic. Like St. Mary's is more of like a toughness situation. Gonzaga a little more of an athlete situation. But if they go out and they don't embarrass themselves, and I know that's like, kind of damning with, faint praise or whatever, like, oh, I'll be happy if you don't embarrass yourselves. But I actually mean that, right? Like in they've gotten their doors blown off by teams way worse than those two teams this year. And so these are the two best teams that they've played all year long, right? This includes USC. This includes Washington, who's, unfortunately pretty good. This includes Seton Hall, which is a pretty good team. So these are the two best teams they've played all year. Right now the team is improving, right? And if you look at like the game scores, check out game scores, sometimes they kind of assign like a value to how well you played in an individual game. Those are trending up. Like everything is sort of trending in the right direction. So what you don't want to do is like take some steps backwards, right? You don't want to feel like, okay, we got some good feelings and then get your teeth kicked in, 3 games in a row. And because the thing is, after that, you've got 5 really winnable games, like right after that in a row. You go at San Diego, winnable game. You're favored in that one by Ken Pom. You got at home against Pepperdine, definitely favored in that one. You got home against Seattle, which is a coin flip, but you're home. You got them at home. And then you go, you got Portland at home, right? So you got just one
Oregon
away
State
game,
away.
And then Oregon State away. Yeah. So you got those 5 games in a row. 4 of those teams are ranked in the 200s. And then you got Seattle at home, 110, but they're at home. So those are all 5 super winnable games. So if you can get through these 3 feeling like, we made it, we still kind of have some continuity with what we've built in the last week or so. I think you feel good about that. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for. I don't expect them to win any of them. San Francisco, maybe, I guess, is the one you point to because they're just, ranked number 99. But we know that their place is really tough to play. We saw that last year. So still going to be a super tough game. As long as you don't kind of get completely derailed in these games and get your teeth kicked in to where all of a sudden you kind of revert back to the bad stuff. I think I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
About
I
that.
just, you just want to see stuff that they're doing that shows that, Riley's learning and that he's adjusting to the roster. Cause we saw that was
It's
something
about
that Kyle
process.
Smith was amazing at, was kind of learning his roster. And then after a few games, he had a lineup set. We've seen Riley roll with this longer lineup for too long at times. Like there's a couple guys at the end there, like Hildebrandt and Rodriguez, that don't necessarily warrant minutes. And at least, not like 18, 20 minutes like they, sometimes get. But I know that they're pushed a little bit because Thrasterson is out for a month.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that
Yeah.
they do not have him for this 3-game stretch, because he would be one of those guys that could actually match some physicality. But he's unfortunately they're not going to have him. But we got guys like Ugbo and Yalejo and ND, and there's even Rodriguez at least has some size, and so I'm sure that he'll get some run because of that. Glass is a very physical for a freshman player. So that obviously there's a better version of every single one of those guys on Gonzaga. And so it
Same thing with St. Mary's, man. It's like, well, and like the thing I said with St. Mary's was like, if you watch that Seattle game, like, okay, St. Mary's is like Seattle, but with like better players everywhere and a really good offense. Like, okay, so they're gonna defend you the same way, except with better players and more physically, and then also they can fucking score, which Seattle really struggles to do. So it's like, you know, yeah, it's honestly, there's a part of me that thinks, and I know the Gonzaga game is a lower percentage than St. Mary's. I honestly think St. Mary's is the toughest of these three. I think that's even tougher than Gonzaga, if I'm being honest. Just simply because the Gonzaga game's at
Yeah.
home. You know, I feel like you can maybe do some things there just by being at home. But playing St. Mary's on the road in that tiny little bandbox of a gym that they've got, and the way that they play, like it is. Yeah, that's to me that's gonna be super tough. But again, I just want to see compete. Like just compete. Like show me competition. Show me that you're playing hard. Show me that you're not just gonna crumble. I think all of those things. You know, I need to see that they are gonna continue on this path
Yeah,
that they're on.
the projection right now has them at 8-10 to finish the year, which would be, you know,
Yeah,
a
in the
5-9
WCC. Yep.
finish, which would not be fun because they're at 3-1 right now.
No.
If you know, you're gonna we can mark, if we're just marking these three off, and then the next three against Santa Clara, Gonzaga, and St. Mary's. If that's 6, like to get to 500, you're gonna have to win most of the rest of the games. And to get to 500 overall in the season, you're gonna have to win. You're gonna have to finish with 12 conference wins, I think. But
yeah, and so you're gonna have to pick up some against maybe you weren't expecting to get.
Yeah, like they're really gonna have to improve, because even with the improved play, we've only seen their KenPom rise from 163 to 152. I think their game scores suggest they're largely playing around like a team in the 120s or 130s. But that's an improvement over earlier in the year. They were playing like a team in the 200s. This is obviously not ideal. We'd love to have a better team right now, but it's at least they've won some games recently. It hasn't been so damn miserable to watch. That's
well, they've just been more fun to watch. Like honestly, like they've just been that was like the biggest thing, was even in some of the games that they won, you were like, and there weren't very many of those, but it was kind of like, this is so painful. You know, this is just kind of slow. I mean, look, the Eastern Washington game is a great example. You know, they handled Eastern Washington. They posted a game score of 90, which is great. Like that's really, really good. That's like a top 25 type team. And it's like, but that was sort of like the defense was really good. Although that was largely the Eastern just missed a ton of threes. And then it's like the offense was pretty good. And so you put those two together and it looks really good on paper, but it definitely was not the most aesthetically pleasing game to watch. Again, these last two games you look at and you go, okay, that looks sustainable. That looks like a thing that you could probably do over and over again that could lead you to some success at a level that we expected before the season started. And so again, just, hopefully we see some flashes of that these next few games. If they can get one, I don't even care how or against who. If it's against San Francisco, that's fantastic. Like if you can get one of these next three, I feel fantastic. I know they'll only have played 2 games by the time we talk next week. But if they can somehow get one of these next 3 before they go into that 5-game stretch of really winnable games, I'll be over the moon. I'll be ecstatic, because that would be some proof of concept for what they've done.
I will say games. they got no favors from the unbalanced schedule in the WCC, because they get Gonzaga and St. Mary's twice each. Oregon State only plays each of those teams once. Or it'll be interesting to look. KenPom does conference strength of schedule. It'll be interesting to look at that at the end and see how much tougher WSU's was than
the 2 teams we only play once are San Diego and Pacific,
which are
so those are our 2
teams below Pacific, not Pacific. But,
probably good that we only play Pacific once.
But San Diego would have loved, trade them out for St. Mary's.
Definitely would like to have played San Diego at home instead of St. Mary's on the road.
Also, on top of that, I'm looking at it right now. Oregon State also, we only play Santa Clara once. They also only play Santa Clara once. So those are 3 best teams in the league, and they only get each of them once. So
Well, at least we
so
get
I'm
Santa
glad
Clara at
that
home.
you
I
got to
guess.
win the games against Oregon State so you can finish above Oregon State, because the rest of their games are a hell of a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Yep. All right. Should we wrap up with some women's hoops?
Yeah.
Speaking of a team that is going in the
Yeah.
opposite
So
direction.
obviously they got to win at Seattle this weekend. But
Woo!
the Seattle women's team is, whereas the Seattle men's team
One of the worst teams in the
is
country.
close to a top 100-ish team. The Seattle women's team is number 339 on Bartovic. They're one of the worst teams. So actually, this was in the win on Bart's game scores, as you pointed out, Jeff, because you couldn't find it. It was one of the worst of the season, but sadly only the third worst.
I was looking at the graph and I'm like, where's the little dot? Like, I don't see the dot. And then I'm like, oh, there's a little dot all the way down
12, there. Which is what you would expect from a team in the 330s. And they, are in the 300s. And so they narrowly beat them, largely thanks to Alex Colville just dominating Seattle U inside. Nearly posting a triple-double, and having a huge bounce-back game that she desperately needed, because she has, in her limited time when she's not been injured, which I suspect she's been injured. She was injured earlier in the season, even when she was playing, because she was well
even
off
when she was playing
what she had done in the past. And so that was nice, good for her to have a nice game. But again, getting the win, huge, because it's only their third of the year. That Pepperdine win, it had you feeling good, because that's a team that's well ahead of them in the rankings, and probably will finish ahead of them in the standings. But it was real nice to get that win at home. And then you had Loyola coming up, and you're like, okay, if they can get this game, then maybe they have something.
Home game,
but
coin
then,
flip.
They lost to Loyola. They go to Portland. They lose there.
And not, by the way, the Loyola game, not really competitive in the second half. Just kind of, it was, they were leading in the first half, gave up the lead by halftime. Actually, I think it was tied at half. And then Loyola kind of came out and ran away from them. And then it was kind of too little, too late. I think the biggest thing with this team is they're not getting better.
They really aren't. You would hope they would. And that you look at the trends of the game score, some of their best games were against Stanford in the loss, against Miami, against BYU. Of course, in between that was that LSU stinker, but it looked like early, late in the conference season, they were losing, but it's like, okay, when they get in conference play, they're going to beat. So you would expect them to beat the team like Loyola, to compete more with Portland, at least, give them. But and then with that Pepperdine win, it was like, okay, they're moving for it, but then, the next two, since that Pepperdine win, that was game score 63, which again, that kind of is what, that's a team in the 140s or whatever, 130s, 120s. Then you're 20-26 against Loyola and Portland, and then 12 in a win over Seattle. That's not a good sign. Obviously this team, Cammie, there's always been a struggle offensively, but she's had some superlative players that overcame that. She's always been more hung her hat on defense. The defense is not good this year. Worse than the offense. And so, they are a horrendous 3-point shooting team. A horrendous
rebounding team. Honestly, that's their biggest issue.
Are they last in free throw rate? Well, how many teams are there? Oh, no, they're not last.
I don't know, but it's very close. It's very close. They're 360th. All right, almost last in all of Division One. In trips to the free throw line. Okay, Here's another thing on Bart's page, though, that I don't know if you ever noticed this. So we talked a whole bunch about their tough schedule. Bart's got a thing on here where he does your efficiency against quality opponents. I'm not sure how he defines quality opponents. It might be like top 50 or something like that. In games against top 50 competition, which is 6 games, they played 6 games. Their ranking metric in quality games against all other teams who played quality games in just the quality games. Hopefully that made sense. 166th. So they've played much better against their quality competition than they've played against the bad teams that they've played. I don't know how to explain that because it's not like I watch them and go like, oh, they're being arrogant.
They're playing better relative to their competition when they're playing tough competition.
Yeah, they're playing. I mean, they're still like losing a bunch of games. It doesn't really matter, but they're playing better against the better competition and worse against the worst competition, and it's just sort of like I don't know what you do with that. They're trending down.
In their last 10, they do have a slightly higher ranking than their overall. So
yeah,
but their last game was one of their, despite being a win, was one of their worst. You would hope to.
Yeah.
But yeah, they.
And I mean, look, we don't try to play armchair like psychologists, but I do feel like there does come a point where losing takes a toll. Like even if you're playing your ass off, even if you feel like you're trying to get better or whatever, like, I mean, they were 1-12 going into conference play like that. There just comes a point where, maybe that kind of breaks you a little bit. And I think that the stretch that kind of did it was BYU and Eastern. They were this close to beating BYU. And then they go play Eastern, a team that they should have beat pretty handily. They end up losing to them by 2. And then it's just kind of been downhill since. Really, the only kind of uptick was, Pepperdine, like you said. But, they barely beat Pepperdine. Okay, great. That's a nice win. And then, Loyola Marymount, Loyola runs away from them in the second half. Portland, same kind of thing happens. Seattle, you win, but Seattle fucking sucks. Like it's not an impressive win at all. That's a team that that's a game you were favored by 10 going in. On the one hand, I kind of
did not change wins above bubble at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're so bad. And your ranking actually went down 10 spots by beating Seattle U by 4 points because they're so bad. So it's because you should have beaten them by more. So you put all that together and it's like, okay, on the one hand, I want to go, did all the losing kind of break them a little bit? I think there's a case to be made there. But then also you go, okay, well, does beating Seattle maybe jumpstart you a little bit? The problem is I don't know how you overcome the things that they're bad at. Like, they're not going to suddenly be a better rebounding team, provided, now here's the thing, Alex Colville gives you some of that, right? Like, now she's not a fantastic rebounder. She tends to be better on the offensive end, I think largely because of where she's positioned. She's very tall. She's going to get a lot of rebounds there on the defensive end if they draw her away from the basket at all.
She's hunting
very
blocks
tough for her to get back and rebound.
Yes. It's hard to
she's
be
hunting blocks,
a shot blocker and
right?
a rebounder.
Yep. So I don't think that's going to change a ton. It could really help the offense. Like, I think that's reasonable, but I don't think that's going to change a ton. And then I also don't think they're going to suddenly, shoot better, from 3. In fact, in this next game, they're going to see a player who really could have helped us in that, Jenna Villa, who is been one of Oregon State's best players after transferring there. It's a little rough, man. They got Oregon State at home. In their next however many games, they've got 21% to beat Oregon State, 11% to beat Santa Clara, 20% St. Mary's, 34% San Francisco, 37% Pacific. Like, you have to go 7 games down the road before you find a game they're going to be favored in, which is San Diego away.
Is having the type of season that we thought, the player we thought we were
that we
getting.
wanted, that we thought she would be. She is the player at Oregon State that we thought she was going to be here, and that's maybe a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, they may win some more games, but I think at this point it's really hard to see them being very different than what they actually are. I think this is kind of what they are. They're not a good shooting team. They don't rebound. They're not going to magically get taller other than Coville's minutes. I just think when you put it all together, I don't think there's a lot of hope that this is going to get significantly better.
You're playing this weekend, Oregon State, like you said, they're top 100, and then Santa Clara, who's close, hovering close to top 50. I'm at home, but still, they didn't beat any team. They didn't beat any teams like this. They haven't beat any teams like this all year. And then you have St. Mary's and San Francisco. This is like there are some wins available there, but a lot of your easier conference games, probably your easiest conference stretches behind you. Yeah,
it's already done. It's already done. Not great, Craig. I don't know. Maybe next week we'll talk some more about how awesome Jenna Villa has been for Oregon State. It's so hard to look at. Like she's an all-conference first teamer at Oregon State right now, and it's largely because she's being used really differently. She's being used inside the arc instead of just being a 3-point shooter, which she was under Cammie. She's making 56% of her close twos, 54% of her far twos. She has shot as many free throws as she had, almost as about 2/3 as many free throws as she's shot 2-pointers. She's also shooting 35% from beyond the arc. Yeah, her turnover percentage is minuscule. She's fucking awesome. I mean, good for her. She was a great kid at Washington State, so I'm glad she's doing well. But also, it really fucking sucks to watch someone that you knew had that talent go do it somewhere else. It would have been really great if Cammie could have figured out a way to really draw that out of her.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Tough. I mean, Cammie's really kind of drawn the offensive ability out of kind of basically one player.
Yeah.
In her tenure, maybe two, today when she was healthy, maybe that's two. I don't know. Wallach, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's painful to see someone leave and just be someone who would.
I think this is a personnel problem more than it's a scheme problem, and that's not getting fixed until next season. So
so that's
Yep. I don't know. I would say Jimmy's and Joe's, but that's not very gender inclusive. So I don't know what I don't know what the term would be for a women's team. I'll have to give some thought to that. So James and Jenna's. There we go. I like that.
Except
James and Jenna's.
Talking about
it's a James and Jenna's
a Jenna that
situation.
We would love to still have.
I know. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, Jeff, we started the podcast on such a high. Let's think back to those good times. The football team, they're coming. It's coming together. We have that to look forward to, and we had some Huskies shot in front today, and so that was fun.
Always good.
And hey, maybe we're coming off wins in basketball, so let's all just positive vibes.
That's right.
All right, Jeff. With that, all I gotta say is go fucking Cougs.
Go fucking Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter. Get vaccinated.
Support a union.
Support your local union. Yeah. Don't drink at Starbucks right now, man. They are on a general strike. Stay away from there. Yeah. Fuck the bad guys. Fuck capitalism. Free Palestine. We gotta do that one. And fucking give Venezuela their country back.
Yeah.